Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brendan, and I hope all of you guys are having a great day no matter where you are from, because there's still a lot happening in the world of cryptocurrency. We have things like tens of millions of dollars continue to pour into the market. Despite us being in an extended bear market, you have Polygon joining Solana in the race for the first Web3 and blockchain-based smartphones. And of course, we have a very large squeeze happening on the Bitcoin daily chart that we have to talk about. Now, including all of this, we do have a little bit of bearish news as yet another major cryptocurrency exchange looks like they're going to be biting the dust here through Voyager, as they have now officially filed for bankruptcy. So if any of this and a whole lot more to come sounds interesting, make sure you guys stick around for the entire length of the video, as there will be important information discussed the entire way through. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into the funding first, and then we'll talk about this big squeeze on the Bitcoin chart. Now, Virginia County Fairfax has now committed over $35 million to Van X Crypto Lending Fund. And on top of this, Bitmark has now raised an additional $5.6 million to launch interoperable NFT wallets. So there's a lot of developments happening. We've seen that the Web3 space has been one of the most liquid areas of funding in this crypto bear market. It seems like people really want NFTs to stay, despite them also seeing a bear market. But pretty much at this point, everything is in a bear market, right? As long as it's not the US dollar, everything has been pretty much headed downwards, no matter if it's a commodity, an indice, a stock, a cryptocurrency, you name it. About the only thing up right now is probably the price of gas, which is even falling now. But there is still tens of millions of dollars to flow into the crypto markets, despite us being in this bear market. So this is something to recognize. People aren't tucking their tail and giving up. In fact, this coordinates really well with this survey that was done over in Britain. So this says the majority of British crypto owners revealed that they are HODLers. So what does a HODLer mean? Well, this is people saying that they're not trading Bitcoin, they're not constantly buying and selling all these different cryptos, but rather, these are the people that say we see long-term value in this asset and the underlying technology, and they're not going to be the ones to trade it because they think that this is a long-term play. If it's a long-term solution, it would only make sense that it is also a long-term play. So a lot of these people, at least through the survey that was done in Britain, are saying it doesn't matter what price does in the short. It could go up 100%, could go down 90%. At the end of the day, we're here for the long term, and we believe that it will be worth more 5-10 years from now than it is in a month from now, a week from now, maybe even a year from now. So I think this is starting to become a very popular thing, is that as cryptocurrency falls, there's only so much institutional selling that can be done, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people, and we're seeing increasing numbers of people. If you go and look at the active Bitcoin wallets over 1 year, there's an increasingly large amount of holders and people that are less interested selling Bitcoin at this price than what we have used to previously seen. And I think a lot of the sellers are still coming from institutional sellers and not from your average everyday retail trader. So let's talk about what's happening over at Voyager, because Voyager just announced that they are going to be filing for bankruptcy following the collapse of Three Arrows Capital. Now, if you're not familiar with Three Arrows Capital, they have had an unfortunate impact on the cryptocurrency community and a number of the different platforms like BlockFi and Celsius and Voyager. And it seems like the hit list and the collateral damage list is just continuing to come out the longer that this event transpires. But essentially what happened is Three Arrows Capital was taking out leveraged positions so that they could earn back a higher yield on their money. And a lot of this was going into something called UST, which I'm sure a lot of you are also familiar with because it collapsed and almost went to zero. Now, since then, they've been trying to recover it, but at the end of the day, Three Arrows Capital did not have the money to pay back to a lot of these crypto platforms, and they were not able to meet their quotas. Hence, now you have BlockFi and Voyager out of their funds because they lended them out to Three Arrows Capital, who then lost it all, or most of it, in UST. So what ended up happening here is Voyager is starting to really feel the impact of these funds from Three Arrows Capital, and it looks like they are going to be officially filing for bankruptcy. Now, does this mean that Voyager is dead? From a public standpoint, yeah, it's going to significantly hurt, if not destroy, their view to the public. Can they, in theory, recover from this? I would say it's possible if they get bailed out or something like that, but their reputation is going to be permanently blemished from a situation like this one, unfortunately. Now, with all of this happening, we talked about how millions of dollars is still coming in. Events like this seem so bad and they seem so bearish, but there is still so much happening in the world of cryptocurrency, including Hut 8 adding 5,800 mining rigs to their Ontario site. Now, and I've said this before, and we were just talking about this a second ago, but if people were not long-term bullish, they would not be doing these things. We would not see tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in miners and funding continue to come into this world if people did not believe in it long-term. And when I say people, I mean big money. The average everyday person doesn't have tens of millions or hundreds of millions or billions of dollars to inject into the world of blockchain. But big money does, and they are continuing to do it despite us being in a bearish time. So before we get into the talk about the smartphones, let's talk about what's happening in this squeeze over here, because we were actually just talking about this one on the Crypt Nation newsletter. Now, if you want to join Crypt Nation, it's a great place to be. I'll have a link to that in the description down below, where you guys get all my technical analysis before the YouTube channel does. Now, if you're not familiar with what we're looking at right now, we're going to be looking at a pennant, which is otherwise known as a symmetrical triangle. And this is creating quite the large squeeze for Bitcoin, because we are seeing consistent lower swing highs with higher swing lows. And we are really stuck in between this zone right now. We're squeezing and bouncing back and forth. But you can see that we are reaching the end of this symmetrical triangle. So it looks like Bitcoin is squeezing and really truly building up pressure to create a large breakout or breakdown following its initial breakdown past its previous low from the Terra Luna situation of $25,000. Now, since then, we hit a new low of about 18,500, or excuse me, 17,500 on Bitcoin. But we're sitting happy, and it looks like the happy medium price for Bitcoin is around $20,000 right now. But if there's one thing that I can warn about, again, we'll have to wait and see exactly how this plays out. But if there's one thing that I can warn about, is it certainly looks like Bitcoin is creating a squeeze in this zone, and we could see some volatility start coming into the market as early as the end of this week, maybe even the beginning of the following week. This week was a short week because of the holiday, so it's been relatively slow. But I do think we're going to start seeing volatility come back into the market after this full squeeze breaks. Now, in a final set of news, Polygon is going to be joining Solana and bringing Web3 to smartphones. About a week or two ago, we covered that Solana wanted to be one of the first players in the space to create these decentralized blockchain, Web3, whatever you want to call them, kinds of smartphones. Now, it looks like Polygon loved the idea so much that they have officially announced that they are going to be stepping into this space as well. So a little bit of competition, I think, is healthy, and I'm excited to see what both of these platforms bring. I would imagine that a lot of these NFT or Web3 smartphones have NFT compatibility and wallets built into them, and probably some additional security and interoperability with dApps. It'll be interesting. I think that there's a lot that they can do over here, but I would imagine that the way that they interact with different blockchains is going to be more advanced than your everyday smartphone does right now. So time will tell. Again, none of these have even released yet. We're still in the very early stages of development of these Web3 and decentralized phones, but I'm excited to see what they could bring us. So let me know in the comment section down below, would you get one of these Web3 phones? Is this something that would actually be interesting to you, or would you rather stick with your Samsung or your Apple iPhone or something like that? Anyway, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.